Stop ruining your training with a plan that's not right for you. Stop wasting time in the gym doing exercises that don't fit your goals, and stop getting frustrated at your lack of progress. This is what we're going to fix in today's video. Hi guys, in this video I want to go over my step-by-step process when planning out a weightlifting program for one of my clients. So, whether you have a trainer or if you're just planning to do it yourself, I think that this will be helpful for you to understand how to get started with resistance training. Step 1. Assessment. When starting a new client, I like to assess them to see what their current fitness level is. Now I know that some of you watching this video might not have access to a full gym setup to assess your strength levels, but I'll do my best to find alternatives for you. Things I like to assess are things like squat, bench and deadlift variations. These are called lifts because they require multiple joints and muscle groups to perform. They're also called compound exercises. Some other examples of lifts are overhead presses, rows and lunges, also pull-ups, chin-ups and push-ups. But I would only count these as lifts if done with the proper form without any machine assistance. Now, why do I focus on these types of exercises? Well, it's because they are fundamental. If you can't perform these movements with a relatively heavy load, then it's going to be hard to perform more advanced exercises. So if you're just starting out, it's important to try your best at these exercises. You might have to start with very little weight or even just your body weight. But make sure to use perfect form and try to build up over time. Okay, so now let's say that you don't have access to a gym, or maybe you feel a bit uncomfortable doing these exercises in front of other people. No problem. There are other ways to get an idea of someone's strength levels. For example, you could do single joint exercises like bicep curls, tricep extensions, leg extensions, and so on. Or another option would be to do bodyweight exercises such as push-ups, dips, squats and lunges. Just remember that I'm looking for the heaviest load that you can lift for 8 to 12 repetitions. This is a lot easier to determine with machines because they show you the weight that you're lifting. But for bodyweight exercises, you're going to have to estimate. So look up how many push-ups or squats are recommended for each fitness level. Then find the level where you can just barely complete the required number of reps. For example, if the recommended number of push-ups for a beginner is 10, but you can easily do 20, then you would move up to the next level. And if the recommended number of squats for a novice is 15, but you can do 30, then you would move up to the next level. Alright, so keep all this in mind and take note of the highest weight load that you can lift for 8 to 12 repetitions with each exercise. Alright, so the next thing I like to do is an assessment called a movement screen. This is just basically a series of tests that help me identify muscular imbalances and limitations in range of motion. If you have limited range of motion or you notice that one side is weaker than the other, it might be helpful to spend some time addressing those issues before jumping into a heavy weightlifting program. Step 2. Goal setting. It's really important to set realistic goals. Let's say that you've never stepped foot in a gym in your life and you want to start bodybuilding. Well, I wouldn't recommend trying to lift as much as possible all of a sudden because you could put yourself at a high risk of injury. Instead, I would recommend working on getting comfortable in the gym and mastering good form first. So here are some goal setting guidelines that you can follow. If you're a beginner, aim to start with the lowest weight loads and work your way up. Only increase the weight once you can comfortably do 12 repetitions with good form. If you've been lifting for less than a year, aim to improve your lifts by 5 pounds or 2.25 kilograms every 3 weeks. Once you've been lifting for a while, the rate at which you add muscle and strength starts to slow down, so your goal should reflect that. If you've been training consistently for more than a year, aim to improve your lifts by 10 pounds or 4.5 kilograms every month. Step 3. Exercise selection. Now that you know how strong you are and what your goals are, it's time to pick exercises. Okay, so the order that I like to follow is lower body, chest, back, shoulders, biceps, triceps, calves, and lastly, either hamstrings or glutes. The first thing I want to do is pick the main lifts for the workout. So this would be something like squats, presses, and deadlifts. So based on your assessment, find the main lifts that you are weakest at and focus on improving those first. Make sure to include these lifts in every workout. Next, choose accessory exercises that target the muscle groups that the main lifts didn't fully target. So for example, if you chose squats as one of your main lifts, then you probably worked your quads, glutes and hamstrings. But you may want to target those muscles a bit more with exercises like leg extensions and hamstring curls. When choosing accessories, it's important to consider the following. First, avoid exercises that conflict with the main lifts. So if you did squats as one of your main lifts, then you don't want to do lunges as an accessory exercise because it's going to stress the same muscle groups too much and increase your risk of injury. Second, if you're short on time, skip the accessories altogether. It's better to just do the main lifts with a heavy load than to do everything with a lighter load. Third, avoid having too many exercises in a workout. 3 to 4 exercises per muscle group is plenty. And finally, consider doing drop sets or supersets to save time. Okay, so step 4 is to determine the training frequency. Most beginners make the mistake of training too frequently. A good rule of thumb is to train each muscle group twice per week. So if you want to train every day, that means you'll have to split your workouts into upper and lower body days or something similar. Step 5, putting it all together. Here's an example of a workout routine that you can follow if you're a beginner. Remember that this is just an example, so you may need to adjust it based on your own goals and preferences. Warm up for 5 minutes with light cardio. Then perform the following exercises. Start with your main lifts and work your way down to the accessories. Take note of the weight load that you can lift for 8 to 12 repetitions. Perform each exercise to failure, which means that you would do as many repetitions as possible until you can complete one with good form. Rest for 2 to 3 minutes between each set. Once you can no longer do 8 to 12 repetitions with the original weight load, then increase the weight and repeat. Here's an example. Exercise 1, barbell squats for 8 to 12 reps. Exercise 2, leg press for 8 to 12 reps. Exercise 3, leg extensions for 10 to 15 reps. Exercise 4, Romanian deadlifts for 8 to 12 reps. Exercise 5, hamstring curls for 10 to 15 reps. Exercise 6, calf raises for 15 to 20 reps. Cool down with static stretches. Hold each stretch for 30 seconds and make sure to stretch all the major muscle groups that you trained. Alright, so that about wraps it up. I hope this video gave you a good idea on how to structure a weightlifting program. So before you leave, make sure to subscribe to the channel and I'll see you guys soon.